One of the biggest desires of my heart is to raise a kid with an outward perspective in her life. I notice a lot of times with awesome holidays like getting dressed up, going to Halloween and trick-or-treating and all that stuff, it's so much fun. But all year long, I teach my baby, say please, say thank you. And then she's going up to strangers' houses and saying trick or treat and getting candy and saying thank you, running away. And it just kind of feels like it's been untraining what I train all year long and kind of turning the focus more inward, but not inward towards the spirit, more inward towards the self. And I took her out yesterday. We had an awesome time. We went to a little costume party at the museum, and it was a sweet little thing where people were dressed like owls and frogs, and it was just a sweet little time. But I still noticed that there was a really heavy pressure on her to focus outward. What candy am I gonna get? When is it my turn? And everything was focused around self. And my heart really went out to her because that's a lot of pressure. I experienced that too growing up. We didn't so much do Halloween, but as Christmas, giving Christmas gifts or birthday. And the pressure was always on self, to be self-absorbed, to focus on what's happening for me, to me. And I just had this fire lit in my spirit to make it something different. So we came home and I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, she hasn't even had candy. She hasn't even had sugar. Why is she kind of derailing? And it's almost like she was acting like she had had sugar, where she's wiggling all around. And I realized she was experiencing the pressure of being inwardly focused. And I just took a minute to kind of pray, meditate, as she was doing an activity next to me on the table, and I just kind of took a few breaths, and I'm like, what am I supposed to know? What am I supposed to do to shift the focus? And I got a fire in my belly because I realized this is the perfect opportunity to teach her how to serve others and teach her how to have an outward perspective and to be compassionate. Because in these times, she can turn whatever is given to her back on other people. So we decided to do a little reverse trick-or-treating.
Happy Halloween trick-or-treating reverse!
We went out and tricked the neighbors by treating them. So we'd go and knock on the doors and we'd say trick-or-treat in reverse, and they'd open the door, look at us completely dumbfounded, just in a surprised look, and maybe say, oh, I don't have any candy yet, I'm sorry. And we'd say, we're here to serve you. And Mia would say, do you want some organic candy made from fresh fruits and vegetables, or would you like a fresh baked pumpkin spice muffin? And it was so sweet. As their jaws dropped and they couldn't believe what we were doing, they wanted to have pictures with her. And we went to homes around the area that we could walk to where people couldn't get out of their home to go enjoy, or we know a couple other people who they don't get to see their grandchildren, maybe they live too far away, and we went and we served them. And to watch as my child was ignited, she had a different perspective. She was outwardly focused, and just her heart of compassion towards others blew me away. I'm looking at this kid, just wow. And the only thing that changed was the way that we were perceiving what was going on. So we're gonna take her to a little trick-or-treating event by the mall. My husband is very, very traditional, and he likes to do the trick-or-treating. He likes to do all the traditionals, and I love that. But I also feel compelled to uphold our goals with her. And our main goal is to give her an outward focus and a heart of compassion. So we went to go trick-or-treating at the mall, and we were to have her say please and thank you and just be polite and be the sweet self that she is. Well, she was still trick-or-treating in reverse. So she would get a piece of candy, she would say thank you, and she'd look for somebody to give it to. And it was so neat because she'd walk up to these babies and she'd get down, real low, down to their eyes, which they're not much shorter than she is, but it was the cutest thing. And she'd say, would you like some candy? You want to trick or treat in reverse? And the kids would look at her like, what? And she would give that piece of candy to the child. And it was so heartwarming to kind of see that outward perspective. And then kind of halfway through, she's like, well, I think I'd like to have candy too. And we're like, awesome. Check out all the candy that you get, and Daddy will hold your favorite one. At the end of the night, you can have your favorite one. And so she'd keep trading up. If she got a bigger one or a different one or a better one or whatever, something she was more excited about, she'd give it to her daddy and then he would give her the other one. She would gift that one to another child. And at the end of the night, she thoroughly enjoyed that piece of candy and she didn't go sugar crazy. She's not used to sugar, so it was a little bit much, but we went ahead and gave her some veggies too, which kind of nullified the effect. Is that a word, nullify? But when you take in fiber at the same time as sugar, it lessens the impact on the insulin level. So we sat down, we had some nice veggies, and we just let her lick on that little lollipop thing that she had gotten from See's Candy. She enjoyed that so much, and we let her lick on it all through dinner, but she was eating her Grow Foods too. And she was excited about it. She was totally agreeable. But the families and the lives that were touched by this child blew my mind. And I just know, it's like when you see your child doing things and you know that it has nothing to do with who you are. This is like God at work through her. This is his love at work through this little creature. And it is so amazing. And she was just lit up. Last year, I remember we went ahead and just did the traditional Halloween trick-or-treating, because we did throw a little party down the block, but we also did the traditional kind of Halloween trick-or-treating thing. And she just felt that pressure. And so she kind of derailed and she didn't even have candy at all. She didn't even know what it was, but she was just kind of tweaking out a little bit. And just to see the way that the perspective shift and the behavior shifted in the same exact day. And in the second half of the day, she had candy and she still was so obedient, still so loving, still so outwardly focused. And by the end of the night, she's running up and down the hall or down the mall, and she's finding people dropping baby bottles and her picking up the baby bottles, giving it back to the mommy. She saw a sweater that dropped, picked it up, found the owner of it, and searched around the mall until she found the owner of this little pink jacket. And that was her Halloween. She was focused on loving and giving and being outside herself. And it was just mind-blowing to watch that happen. And then as the parents saw that, they were thinking, oh my goodness, I'm gonna do this next year too. So a big group of us are gonna do this next year. And I hope that you consider it too, because the things that were created deep within her were so powerful and so profound. And it was a blessing to be able to see how she served others and blessed others and inspired other families. Just this little tiny 4-year-old. Never underestimate what you can do if you're younger than someone. If you're a kid and you're watching this, keep in mind sometimes you're sent here to serve adults. Sometimes we are supposed to learn from you. Like I learned from my little Mia Bella. She's 4.5 years old, and she showed me what compassion is all about. I love you guys, and let's make this a compassionate holiday.
Owl is serving a human,
That is pretty awkward.
so that's what we're gonna call it. Trick-or-treating awkward owl.